As a 17-year-old student of politics, I would like to ask, how do each of the party leaders believe they'll be able to keep their promises of eliminating the deficit without raising certain taxes or making vast cuts to vital public services?
Johnny, thank you very much indeed. Nick Clegg.
Johnny, I think it's all about balance, isn't it? That's why I don't think that you should be faced, Johnny, with the stark choice of either cutting too much. George Osborne and David Cameron's plan is for £50 billion of cuts, way beyond what's needed, or borrowing too much, which is Ed Balls and Ed Miliband's plan. They want to borrow £70 billion more than is necessary. I think that's a dismal choice, cutting too much or borrowing too much. It's a balance, and it does mean, yes, you need to reduce spending, but you also need to make those with the broadest shoulders, the wealthiest, to pay a bit more through the tax system to balance the books. That's the way you can balance the books, do it fairly, also then, of course, put money into public services, perhaps most especially the NHS, which does need more money because of the fact we've got an ageing population. So the Liberal Democrat plan is a very simple one. We'll cut less than the Conservatives and we'll borrow less than Labour.
Thank you very much indeed. David Cameron.
Well, first of all, what I'd say is that we've got a plan which is working. We've taken 3 million of the lowest paid people out of tax, and we've got almost 2 million people back into work. But I think what's absolutely crucial here is recognising that what our plan involves is balance. We're going to go on investing in the NHS every year, as we have done under this government, under the last Parliament. We'll go on doing that in the next Parliament. We're going to find savings of £1 out of every £100 that the government spends. And we need to do that for 2 more years, just as we've done for the last 5 years. But the alternative to that plan is actually putting up taxes. And I don't want to do that. I think that if we go back to the tax, the waste, the spending and the debt, all the things that got us into a mess in the first place, we wouldn't help working people, we'd hurt working people. That's what Labour did last time, and we mustn't let it happen again.
David Cameron, thank you. Liam Wood.
Under our plans, the deficit will be cut from 90 billion to 30 billion by 2020. We see no reason to put arbitrary deadlines on cutting the deficit. The austerity experiment has failed. We were told that the deficit would be eliminated within this Parliament, yet debt has gone up. We faced all of these cuts, so much pain for so little gain. The banks have had a bailout. It's time now for the people to have a bailout, and it's time for us to invest in public services and job creation and to see an end to austerity and cuts.
Liam Wood, thank you. Nigel Farage.
Well, the question's right. How can anybody believe these promises on cutting the deficit? Because this coalition was put together to reduce the annual deficit to zero. That's why these two guys got together. It is still running at 90 billion sterling every year. More remarkably, and what no one talks about, is the national debt, which has been going on for hundreds of years, and in this 5 years, the national debt has doubled from 850 billion to 1.5 trillion. We need to make cuts, and there are some places we can start. We could easily cut £10 billion a year from the foreign aid budget. We could save another £10 billion a year by not paying over money to Brussels every single day. We could end vanity projects like HS2 that will only benefit a tiny number of people, thus saving, by the end of this Parliament, £4 billion a year. And we need to revisit the Barnett formula, because, frankly, English and Welsh taxpayers are getting a rotten deal, and we could save £5 billion a year in doing that. There's a plan and a promise that could be kept.
Nigel Farage, thank you very much indeed. Ed Miliband.
Johnny, we'll cut the deficit every year, and as I said in the opening, we will balance the books. But we'll do it in a fairer and better way than has been tried over the last 5 years. David Cameron promised to eliminate the deficit, and he failed. So what we'll do is, first of all, we'll have fair taxes. So we'll reverse the tax cut that he gave to millionaires, £43,000 for every millionaire in Britain. Secondly, we will have common sense spending reductions. So outside key areas like education and health, spending will fall. But thirdly, we'll do something else. Because your living standards have fallen over the past 5 years. And that hasn't just been bad for working people. It's also meant that government hasn't had the tax revenues coming in. That's why this government failed on the deficit. So what we'll do is, by boosting living standards, that's the third part of our plan, to live within our means, get the deficit down and balance the books. It's a fair way, it's a better way for our country.
Ed Miliband, thank you. Natalie Bennett.
Well, Johnny, I think what we're offering is not cuts. We're offering the reversal of austerity, investing in your future and the future of everybody in this room. And what we've been doing in looking at the deficit is looking at this the wrong way round. We've been slashing away at essential public services. And let's really think about what austerity actually means. Probably somewhere near you, there's a children's centre or a library that's closed. Think of a worker in, say, that children's centre. She used to be providing an essential public service to your community. She used to be paying tax and national insurance. She had a modest amount of income to spend in the community. Now that essential service is gone, she's on job seekers allowance and everybody is much poorer. So what we're saying is we do need to raise taxes on those who aren't currently paying their share. Multinational companies in particular and rich individuals, if they pay their share in the world's 6th richest country, we can afford to have a decent society and afford to have decent public services.
Natalie Bennett, thank you. Nicola Sturgeon.
Well, Johnny, cutting the deficit is important. Of course it is. But economic policy shouldn't be an end in itself. It should be a means to people living better lives. And the fact is, austerity is pushing people into poverty. It's undermining our public services and it's holding back economic growth. And when economic policy is doing all of that, that policy needs to change. So I don't agree with the cuts proposed by the Tories, Labour and the Liberal Democrats. I take a different view. We should have modest spending increases over the next Parliament. It will take slightly longer to eliminate the deficit completely, but the deficit would continue to fall in each year of the next Parliament. But crucially, that alternative plan would mean that we had resources to invest in infrastructure and skills and innovation, the things we need to get our economy growing, resources to invest in our public services and in lifting people out of poverty. That kind of alternative plan must be better than a blind commitment to austerity that doesn't take any account of the damage being done to our society.